Welcome to this week's episode of Modern Day Heroes. We got the man in the building today. We got my boy Tay. What's up, bro?
Oh man, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man. Excited to be with you. How do you like Utah so far?
I love it here, man.
You been here before?
I have not. This is
Okay,
my first
bro.
time
Give
here,
me the first
and-
impression.
Well, first impression, everything looks new. I like that part.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
really building here and like expanding. And I like that it's expanding almost outward versus upward. Because where I come from, they're just stacking stuff.
Yeah.
So I like to see there's just a lot of room to just build out. So yeah,
That's
I'm
cool.
loving that. Everything just looks new and fresh.
Good,
So, yeah.
man. Good.
Yeah, I
That's
love
fun. I'm so curious to dive into you, who's now 35 years old. We're sitting here today. I want to know the whole story, bro. So take us back, take the audience back to where it all began and how you're sitting here today, brother.
Absolutely, man. So take us back. So I'll take you back to, literally 20 years ago,
15.
300 pounds. Yeah, so I was 15 years old, 320 pounds, single mom, makes 20K a year.
Wow.
Literally just going
Where
through
you
this.
living?
So this is Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Right. And this was before it was the Nashville we know it to be today.
Yeah.
Right.
Very different.
And so mom, struggling, but, make sure we had the essentials, right? We had the essentials. So I didn't have a compromised childhood. I don't consider myself to. So great life. You don't know what you don't have until somebody else tells you like, oh, you're poor.
Interesting.
Right. And so we didn't
Interesting.
feel poor. And so the only issue I would say that I struggled with was the weight because, I have diabetes at that time. I'm high blood pressure, heart disease, eczema, horrible eczema all over my face, my neck. And so I kept telling myself, hey, where's this going to end? Where's the future looking like if you continue down this path? Right. And so
Even at 15, you were
at
having
15,
those thoughts.
I'm thinking this.
Interesting.
Because I'm noticing, I'm very common in my thinking. My common sense is very strong. It's one of my superpowers.
Cool.
My common sense
Cool.
is very strong. And so I'm thinking, let me find someone who's 10 years, 20 years older than me who has the same things that I'm dealing with. Diabetes, overweight, high blood pressure. And what are they doing? What do they look like? Are they
Interesting.
happy? Are they, what's going on?
Interesting.
And so after doing some research, man, I realized, they're on their deathbed. They're close to it. They're not happy. They're, they can barely walk. They're losing limbs. All the things I don't want to happen, right?
Yeah.
And so I started to tell myself, okay, well, if you don't change something about your situation, you're headed right there, buddy.
What do you felt like led you to that point? Was it the eating, or how'd you find yourself 15 overweight?
I definitely think it
having
was
those
the
thoughts?
eating. I say this. So my brother and I have a younger brother. We both play sports pretty much since we were 7. Basketball, football, baseball. Played
That's
everything,
fine.
right? And because my mom worked multiple jobs, she didn't have a lot of time to also,
For sure.
pick us up, cook.
For sure.
So she's like, hey, you're hungry? I just picked you up from, practice. Let's go restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah,
so we're athletes and we're growing boys. So you're talking a meal looks like something crazy. We're going to Jack in the Box or, McDonald's, and it's give me 3 number 4s and 2 large drinks and a smoothie or, a flurry or whatever. And so, man, we're eating, if you really count up those calories, we're eating 10,000 calories
Fair.
and
Fair.
going home and going to sleep, And so I find myself over the years, 7 years old, 8 years old, 9, I'm skinny, I'm smaller, I'm playing sports, everything's fine. But as you go 11,
Makes
12,
sense.
I started gaining weight. And so, I found myself at 15 not realizing I'm actually overweight. I feel like you don't realize you're overweight until someone points it out. And so I'm playing ball, man, because this is my love, love of my life. So I'm playing ball and someone goes, hey, pick that girl up. She's really good. I look around thinking, what girl? Like, there's no girls here. It's like, you. I said, I'm not a girl. So I had long hair at the time. I'm not a girl. Like, I'm a guy. And then, well, you had boobs, so I thought you, you had, boobs, so I thought you were a girl. And I said, wow, like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that'll hit you, bro.
Right? So it hit me, and I'm thinking, whoa. And then somebody comes up and pats my stomach and goes, you're also pretty hefty. So, and I go, okay, I need to do something about this. And so that turned on, the switch.
No, did that make you mad? Or was that like, hey, fair enough?
Yeah, it was a fair enough. Okay.
That's impressive,
got
bro.
me.
Because
Yeah.
most people at 15 are going to be like, all right, I'm going to throw hands.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. And no, man, I just took it for what it was. And I'm realistic in my thinking. So I go, I have been eating a lot of McFlurries and,
Interesting.
and I eat a lot. And so I go, okay, I got to do something about this. And so, of course, like anybody who's going through a diet or needs to go, through a change, it takes a while.
Yeah.
But what really pushed me was, so 15, I'm going into high school, freshman year. And I go to, play ball. And so I go to tryouts. And the coach goes, hey, big man, you're going down low center. And, maybe we'll pick you up on the team if you do good there. My whole life I've been playing point guard. So I'm thinking, nah, this is not going to work. Like, I'm a guard.
You're how tall at this point?
5'9".
Okay.
Maybe. So I'm not big.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not,
Not center height.
So I'm just overweight. So he's thinking, well, you have weight on you, so just get down there. And so I go, no. And so that was the motivation to say, no, you have to get this weight off ASAP. And so I realized, okay, well, let me find a motivation, because other than basketball, why should I stop eating my pizza and my, my McDonald's? I love that stuff. And so that's when I got into the whole thing. The doctor started telling me, hey, you're going to need to take these medications. You're going to need to start doing this. And I didn't like that. And so that got me researching, studying. And before you know it, man, I changed my whole diet. I'm walking around high school with a jug of water. Like, I was a high school student walking around with a gallon of water. So this was like weird to most people. And so, yeah, man, I did whatever I had to do to change that situation. So, yeah.
That's incredible. I can't fathom being in high school and thinking to that level of thinking.
Yeah.
That's a mature man that says, hey, I'm going to do my own research and figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are, you're going through high school. You figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take you to see a change? And then how does it skyrocket from there?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I think it probably took maybe 3 months to really start noticing my clothes are falling off. They're a little baggy.
Good.
And I think actually what happened was, funny story, I'm on the basketball court. My shorts wouldn't, tighten enough, and they fall. And I go, okay, I'm losing weight. This is a good,
Good.
And so from there, man, I just stick with it. And so I'd say every day almost, this is before we knew what intermittent fasting was, but I just kept telling myself, well, if fat is stored energy, because I'm looking on the internet and it's saying that, hey, fat is stored energy. I'm like, I just need to burn through this stored energy. So stop putting energy in and just burn through it. And so literally I go play ball, 2 times a day, and I would eat one little small meal after the whole day's over. And I just drink water. And literally the weight starts falling off. The diabetes goes away. So I had type 2 diabetes. It goes away.
Look at that.
High blood pressure goes away. Heart disease goes away. Like, everything starts clearing up. And I'm thinking, oh, this is different. And so I'm eating fruits and vegetables, because I'm thinking to myself, like, that should be the easiest way to get this stuff off. Right. I've never seen anybody get fat from eating apples.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, well, let me just do that. And so I start eating, apples, little things like that. This stuff wasn't organic. It was just whatever I could get, And so what ends up happening is I end up dropping 120 pounds by the time I'm 17. So it took about 18 months. And nobody notices me now. And so there's this, weird thing where it's like, who's this guy? I'm going back to high school, and they're like, who are you? And I'm mentioning people's names. Hey, Tom, what's going on, man? They're like, I don't know who you are.
Wow.
I go, wow, this is interesting. So I got the first flash of recreating yourself and really saying you can recreate yourself, your image, who you are, who people see you as, and you become a whole new person. And at that point I knew, okay, it just takes work and I can be whoever I want. And that's what started everything from there. So yeah, man, it was interesting.
And then, this is cool, man. So you're 17.
Mm-hmm.
You had this experience. What was the first step to say, cool, I'm going to now go down this route? Did you go to college?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do this after college? Was it right there in that moment? Walk us through the beginning steps of what you've now created today.
I was totally against college.
You and me both, brother.
Right,
I hear
was
you.
totally against it. And I did my assessment on college and people who went to college. And because I grew up poor, I knew, hey, I have to make enough money to not only take care of myself, but take care of my family while still being able to buy those fancy things I like. I like, we talked about the shoes, right?
Sure, man.
I love my shoes, man. I need to be able to buy my shoes, and I like nice cars. I'm a car guy. So how can I buy my car or my cars, because I wanted multiple cars? How can I buy my shoes and still take care of myself and the family? And so I'm starting to count and add up the numbers, and I'm thinking, okay, this is more than what most college graduates make. I need some money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I need some big money.
40K ain't going to do it.
40K not going to do it. So I'm like, all right. So let's reverse engineer this thing. People who make millions of dollars, what do? And so I noticed there's only three things. They either start a business, they get into real estate, they trade the stock market. That was the only three that I could find. And I'm sure there are other, play basketball or something.
Sure.
Which,
Sure.
Growing up, that was a goal. And so I started, thinking to myself, the only way I'd go to college is if I could actually play basketball, right, for college. So I lose the weight, I get everything down. People are actually starting to look at me. I start to grow a little bit more, so I go from 5'9" to 6'3".
Cool.
And so things are starting to actually look good. And it's like, oh, maybe you can play ball, Well, I decided to go up to, it's a smaller college outside of Nashville. It's in Clarksville, Tennessee, Austin Peay. So I go to Austin Peay. I say, hey, let's see what things, shake out here. Plus, I was dating a girl who went to Austin Peay. So it worked.
Right on.
And so I play ball and, looking to walk on. And the guys are like, man, you're great at what you do. You just need to enroll in school and things will be great. Well, the things I needed to enroll in school didn't work out. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't like the classroom setting. I don't like I just don't like it. And so luckily, I mess up my knee and I can't play ball. And so I go back home to Nashville. And basically from there, man, I said, well, what should I be doing with my life? Well, a really good friend of mine, Capria, at the time.
Shout out Capria.
Shout out to Capria.
Come on.
Right? So Capria goes, well, you've lost all this weight and you should do this for other people. Why not do that? You're a walking billboard. I was like, huh. She said, you should become a personal trainer. I said, all right. I do my research on personal training. And I realized you don't need to go to college to be a personal trainer. I go sign up for the best thing I could find as far as personal training certifications. And I went and got certified through NASM, man, National Academy of Sports and Medicine. And so that was my start to really getting into entrepreneurship and just growing on my own, man. So, yeah.
This is interesting because I want to dive into this. So a lot of people, when they do entrepreneurship, they'll get to a point where it's very difficult to scale.
Yes.
So, for example, in personal training, you're trading your time for however much people are willing to pay for that hour session or however that might look. So you begin doing personal training. I assume it's pretty standard where you just start training people. How did you go from, okay, I'm trading my time, $100 an hour, $50 an hour, whatever it is, per client, to now being the number 2 trainer in the world today? That scale is significant, impressive, and difficult.
Absolutely, man.
How did you go from there to there?
Well, it's an interesting story. So my best friend / bro, he's like a brother, man. We've been rocking out for the longest. So my man Ed, so he introduced me to stocks. So we're in a car one day and he's looking through stocks. I know nothing really about it. And I'm like, whatever. He's like, man, you really should check this thing out. You should check this thing out. Well, me personally, I like real estate. I'm thinking, hey man, I'm watching what some people do with this. They call it house hacking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, hey, if we can buy a house together, family, and then we all pitch in on the bills, and then we pitch in even extra on a new house, we can scale that and buy new houses, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, how can we make this, work? I said, well, I'm personal training right now. Things are going pretty well. I'm making, I think at most, a personal trainer trading hours for dollars can make maybe $80K a year. Maybe
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right? And so I always thought back to what my man says. He's like, yeah, man, like check out these stocks, right? And so long story short, I have I get a house, everything went well until it didn't. So things fall apart and I'm thinking, this real estate thing's not for me, right? And so the family kind of like fizzled out on me, left me with the house. I had to file bankruptcy. Like it was a crazy story.
Really?
Yeah, I filed bankruptcy. I lost the house, the cars,
No way.
whatever I had, I lost it, right? And so I go back to living with my mom, sleeping on her floor.
Wow.
Right? And so you think, like,
How
oh,
old?
man. And so at this point, I'm 21.
Okay.
21, but I'm a personal trainer, right? I no longer have my normal job because, when you're a personal trainer, you have to work a regular job and personal train, right, in order to make ends meet. And so I started to scale up, as I'm sleeping on my mom's floor, right? Shout out to my man, Ed, because he made sure things were on point even when I didn't have it. He's like, man, you don't have your car anymore, I'll take you to the gym,
love that,
right?
bro.
You don't have this, I got your back, right? So I'm like, man, this is solid. This is why I say your team, your circle, it matters, right? Take care of your people in your circle. And so, so we're going through this process, and so I give up on real estate. But now I'm always thinking back to stock market.
Sure.
Right. And so this is, fast forward for a while, this is how I got into trading and being the number 2 trader in the world. And so coming back, I'm looking at, doing more personal training. I'm scaling. Things are looking good. 80K, 90K. I'm getting there, right? I'm scaling over time. So I get to about 23, 24, and I'm starting to realize I'm hitting this ceiling, right? And I can't get past this area. So I start asking myself, what can I do to scale even more? Well, the number one thing I ask myself is, it started feeling like a job. I'll say that. And I started asking myself, why am I showing up to work with and counting people's reps? So if I tell you to do 10 push-ups, essentially what I was doing was 1, 2, 3. And I'm thinking, you don't need me here to count your push-ups. Like, that's not what you pay me for. There's 3 essential things you need to get good results from a trainer. Number 1, you need a solid workout regimen. Number 2, you need a solid, effective nutrition regimen. And number 3, you need some form of accountability. If I can replicate that and pull myself away from the environment, you will still get the results. And so I say, okay, how can I replicate that online? And so I scale out and I say, okay, I can get you a nutrition plan via, the internet. I can also get you a workout plan via the internet. The accountability thing was tough because people, they need the accountability. Well, it's called Voxer. I'm sure you've heard of it, right? And so this is the first time Voxer comes out and they give you the ability to walkie-talkie people. And so I go, I'll tell you what, I'll make your nutrition plan. I'll make your workouts. You do those. And if you ever feel like you can't, fulfill something, if you feel like you want to divert away from the nutrition plan and eat a cookie or pizza, you walkie-talkie me and I'll make sure I get back to you and talk you out of it. Right?
I love that.
And so that birthed this new way of personal training. And so I moved 95% of my clients from in-person to online.
Okay.
Right. And it hurt for a while because,
Sure.
I took a huge cut because you can't charge the same amount for
sure.
online stuff. Right. So I'm charging now $300 a month per client. Some of these clients were paying me $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
But I said, it's okay because it's a sacrifice for what I see coming. So what I do is I go on YouTube and I just value. I just deliver so much value. Don't ask for anything, just deliver the value. And I'd say maybe 6 months in after just video after video, people start asking, how can I work with you though? Like you give great value, but I want to work with you. How can I work with you? I said, oh, well, I have this online program that I've been, putting together. Feel free to come in. It's only $300 a month.
You were doing this on YouTube.
YouTube.
Okay.
Yep. This was all
Not
YouTube
Instagram.
At the
Nothing
time,
of that yet.
Instagram wasn't around.
Okay.
Not the way we know it
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
today. And so I'm thinking, man, this is really great. So I'm leveraging Facebook because you need a Facebook group for the, the vibes.
Very interesting.
So I pushed everybody into a Facebook group, but I'm also doing mostly YouTube videos. And so I end up scaling this thing up to about 300 people paying $300 a month.
Good for you.
Right? And so I'm like, man, this is 90, almost 100K a month. I'm like, things are really,
what am I going to do with this?
Right. What am I going to do with it?
Cool.
And so I'm making this money online, but I still work because I don't like trading my time for money at this point. But I had that core, maybe 5 clients that you just do it for the labor of love, right? I love the clients. I love hanging out with them. So I still worked with them. But one guy, he goes, hey, you've helped me so much. He's a surgeon at Vanderbilt, right? So we talk about Nashville. And so he's a surgeon, big time surgeon at Vanderbilt. And he goes, hey, I have this guy you should work with who he needs your help. Don't ask any questions. Just go and don't charge him anything. And I go, interesting, right? So I listen to him because I trust this guy.
Sure.
I say, hey, why not? So I go and I show up. I walk in and the sign says, venture capital, private equity, yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking, okay, let's see what this guy has to talk about. So
You're how old at this point?
So this time I'm about 26.
Okay.
26, 27. So I go in and I say, hey, I'm here to see Charlie. And she said, oh, Charlie's in the back. So guy comes out, he's limping. He has a bad leg. And I go, okay. Well, I'm there to fix his leg and help strengthen the bones or strengthen the muscles in his leg, get things together. And so Charlie goes, hey, if you fix my leg, I'll give you $5 million. I go, oh, wow, okay. $5 million is a lot of money. And the fact that you can just throw that out there means you have a lot of money, right? And so I go, wait a minute. I say, well, listen, Charlie, I don't want your money. First of all, I've been instructed not to take any money from this guy.
Wow.
So
you said no.
So I said no. I said,
wow.
I don't want your money. I said, but I will tell you one thing. I said, if I can help you, and while I help you, you help me investing my money. Help me find out what to do. Clearly, you've done something right. I'm looking, he has a beautiful building. I'm saying, clearly, you've done something right with yourself. And the fact that you can offer me $5 million tells me you got a lot of money.
Wow.
So just teach me the game. And so he agrees. We kind of talk. And it's one of those, Mr. Miyagi type of, like,
yeah, man.
It's not do this, do this, do this. He's like, ask yourself why. And that's how he would teach me and make me think, right?
Those are the best teachers, dude.
Loved it, right? And so I'm working with Charlie. It didn't last long, maybe 6 months, but I got everything that I needed.
Fix his leg?
Fixed his leg slightly. He had nerve damage, so it wasn't much you can do from it, but we could build up the strength in it enough to where, things were great. And so as great as they could be. And so I ended up having to move to D.C. My ex-wife, or my wife at the time, wanted to move to D.C. for a new job opportunity. And so I said, hey, I'm making money online. I can go anywhere. I can work from anywhere. So go to D.C., but the whole time I have this information in my head and how to study the markets based on what Charlie taught me. And so I take it to D.C. and I just go to work.
So he made his money through stocks.
Yeah. Stocks, investing in venture capital, buying small companies, growing them to bigger companies.
But you latched onto the stock.
And I latched onto the stock because essentially what he was saying is that everything is equity, right? So, for example, if you have a company that's a small company and we think it can grow bigger, how can I just get a piece of that company, some equity, right? Yeah. And so as it grows, my piece of the pie grows, right? And so he's like, well, this happens everywhere. You can do it in private equity. It's a little tougher to get in that space, or you can just go start over here in the stock market. Which is the same thing. Buy a piece of a company, take it higher.
Interesting.
Right? And so that's how I made my transition over from working in, the health world, nutrition, Of course, I got into holistic work for a while, personal training, and I moved over to the finance world, stock trading, futures trading, options trading. That's where we are today. And
Wow.
so, yeah, man, it ended up really working out
Wow.
for me.
I think you're probably glad that you didn't take the 5 mil.
I'm so glad I didn't take the 5 minutes. Seriously.
Man, so you're 27 at this point, and you're still making it 90, 100 grand a month.
Mm-hmm.
And how much are you living off of that?
5K, 8K.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you're
I'm not
trading
spending any of it.
90K a month.
Well, honestly, I didn't know what to, or I didn't want to push it all into the stock market.
Sure.
Now I'm thinking,
Eased into it.
wait a minute, I have a lot of money. I don't want to just send it all out. Let's wait. And so I slowly went into the stock market, 8K at a time.
Wait, this is impressive. You were making 100K and you were only spending 5?
6,000.
No
maybe,
way.
Maybe. That was it. I drove a Toyota Camry. Leading up to the time I made that much money, I drove an older Camry, 2010. This is maybe around. So if I drove a 2010, this was maybe 2017 that I'm driving that Camry. And so in 2018, they came out with these new Camrys with the red leather seats. I go, ooh, I want the new Camry. I'm making $1 million a year plus. And I'm still going for the Camry, right?
I love that, bro.
And so I go get a brand new Camry, man. And I just think to myself, this is all I need. You know, I want to keep, pushing money back into investing, And so one of the reasons why I did that is because I noticed where I come from, my people tend to, as soon as we make a little money, it's G-Wagon time. Yeah. It's Mercedes. And, and so I'm thinking, nah, I don't want to do that prematurely.
Did someone teach you that? Like, I can't, even me, bro. I'm like, once I get it, I want to spend it. I know I shouldn't, so I don't. But, man, I'm tempted.
I think the biggest thing for me was knowing that I had that responsibility of I knew I was going to have to take care of my mom. I knew I was going to have to take care of my family, right? And so it's like, look, whatever you do with this money, it's got to last, right? It's got to last. And can you make personal training last this long? And I'm thinking to myself, no, I don't want to. I don't want to do this long, right? Because at this time it's getting mundane. It's turning into a job versus a passion. I want out. Honestly.
I hear you.
So yeah, man, it gets to a point where I'm thinking, just get the Camry, sit on the money for a while, find out what you need to do with it, and we'll grow it from there. And so I started, doing more investing, a little trading here and there, but mostly investing because, of course, I watched Charlie. He's like, hey, put some money in and just wait. Right?
Sure.
And so I put the money in and some things started growing, and now I'm starting to get excited, and so this is the growth of Bitcoin starts to come in, right? And so something told me, hey man, just get you a couple hundred coins,
couple hundred
coins, man, and just see what it does. And so I get a couple hundred coins. I get some Ethereum. I get Chipotle stocks. I have some Chipotle.
What'd you buy Bitcoin at?
I scaled in over time. So when I say scaled in,
sure.
Bought some at maybe 3,000, bought some at 2,000, bought some at 4, 6, 8, 12.
Sure.
I think I stopped buying it at 12.
Okay.
Because I got to thinking, that should be it.
Sure.
No more. And so the thing takes off, 20,000. And I'm looking at my account like, whoa, okay, this is different. It comes back a little bit and I'm thinking, no, just keep holding.
Good.
Just keep holding, man. Just
Good.
wait. Well, it bounces, comes back up past 20,000, and then it goes to 30, 35. Now, at this point, I'm pulling profits out now. I'm like, let's take some out.
Yeah.
And so I sell maybe 75% of the position because I'm thinking, just give me my money back.
Yeah, I got the principal.
All right, I got my principal back. I'm good to go. And so I sell a bunch of it at about 35,000, right? And I'll maybe keep 10 coins. And I told myself, hey, sell 1 to 2 coins every $10,000. If it keeps going up, just 45,000, sell 2 coins. 55,000, sell 2 coins. Well, it gets to 65,000 and I have like 4 coins left. And I'm thinking, it can't run any longer than this. So I just sell the rest of them. And luckily I got out of 65K.
You sold at some good spots.
I sold at some good spots, man. I was very grateful for it. And so I did not know it was going to pull back the way it did. So it goes to 69. I'm thinking, man, it's going to go to 100K. And out of the blue, it falls back to 20.
Yeah.
Right? It falls back to 20, and I'm thinking, wow, that's amazing, right? Now, here's the thing. By this time, though, by the time it falls back to 20, I'm pretty good at trading. I can read the charts, and I can tell you where things are going. And so I'm looking at it at 20, and I go...
Because 20 was within the last 12 months.
Yes. And so I'm looking at it 20. I'm like, no, it's got lower to go. And I'll say this on record. It still has lower to go.
Interesting.
I'll put
That's
that on
good
record.
news for me, brother, because I did not buy when it was at 20.
Right?
I'll go in.
Oh, yeah. And so I see Bitcoin going 10K, 9K.
Wow.
Maybe even potentially back to 6,000.
Wow. You call me when it is, and
Right?
I'm writing you a blank check, brother.
So, yeah. I personally, I'm not buying anything where it is now. I'm going to wait. I know we're at all-time highs. The exuberance is crazy right now, but I'm not a believer. There's some things showing me that it needs to fall. Now, it can take, there are some people, well, it's going to, 100,000. That's fine.
It might.
But I see where it needs to go to the opposite side. So I'll wait. And if you have to run without me, fine. That's how I play the game. And so, yeah, man, Bitcoin was a great thing for me. Chipotle. Some other things, Beyond Meat. I invest. I spread the money out. And there's a lot of things that did me well, and so it's been an interesting journey.
That's fun, man. Yeah. Now, February 2020, March 2020. You remember that?
Oh yeah. I made a lot of.
How were your positions March 2020?
So March 2020. So by this time, I had
when
been
COVID
day
was
trading.
announced, by the way.
Yes. So COVID was announced. I'm listening to what was his name, Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman goes on CNBC and cries. What hell's coming? Oh my God, the world's about to end. And people start going short. Well, luckily, I see it crack. So they call it trend lines. And so if you draw a trend line out, it shows you the trend, basically. And so the trend was up. Well, when that trend line cracks, you get confirmation, it lets you know that the trend is over and the move down is coming.
So you shorted.
So I went short the day I saw Bill Ackman cry.
Wow.
I knew it then.
On everything or what?
Well, so I was short of a few things. So I went short the airlines because I knew that, hey,
good call.
If the airlines, if anything happens with this thing, because I had been tracking COVID since November 2019.
Whoa.
Because I was just worried about the health aspect of it.
Wow.
Right. And I'm thinking, man, like if this thing really turns into something crazy.
Wow.
Imagine what's going to happen. They're probably going to shut this thing down. That's what I'm thinking. They're going to shut this thing down to try to avoid people from spreading it, right? And so I'm just thinking, okay, this is going to go crazy. So I was short Delta. I was short, there's a few other things, but mostly like the travel industry because I'm thinking they're not going to let us travel, right? Well, it cracks, money falls, and I share it online. I will never forget, I share it on Instagram. And so, because by this time I've retired as a personal trainer, I'm not doing any more work with that. And so I shared it online, and everybody goes, "What did you do? How did you make money when the market fell?" And I said, "Oh well, I saw the trend. Trend broke. Super simple stuff." And they go, "You have to teach us."
So at this point, you weren't teaching.
I was not teaching.
You were literally trading by yourself.
I was trading by myself.
Wow.
I was day trading. So I got my start, of course, with long-term stuff, I slowly get interested in penny stock trading, right? Because I met a guy he was a partner. So I had a coach. Shout out to AJ Mirzad, excuse me. So AJ Mirzad, he's a coach, and he wanted me to come to New York. He's like, bro, come to New York. You're one of my success students. You got to tell your story. So I said, okay, fine. So I go to New York. It's one of the best decisions I make because I meet a guy there, David Kane. Shout out to David. So David, he's also a successful student. I go, what do? You personal trainer? And David's a little skinny, skinny Asian guy. And I'm like, no, you're not a personal trainer. Like you don't have any muscles. So I'm like, what do you do? He's like, oh no, I'm a stock trader. And I go, oh, well, I've been in stocks already. I'm interested in what you do. Tell me more. He said, well, I day trade penny stocks. I go, never heard of those, right? He said, yeah, anything under anything under $5, I'm willing to trade it, and I want maybe a 50-cent move on the stock, and I get out.
Wow.
Interesting. So tell me more. And so anyway, we decided to start working together. I go work with David. I trade with him every morning. We're trading together, right? And so
you got like what, a 3-hour window?
Yeah, maybe 2-3 hour window. So you go in 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. We trade for maybe an hour or two until lunch. After lunch, you usually don't want to touch it. And so, yeah, man, we
Why
start.
is that?
Well, usually the volume. So with stocks, the volume of how many people are buying something is what makes stocks go up,
And that happens in the morning.
right? And that happens in the morning because everybody's in and out, in and out, in and out in
Gotcha.
the morning. And so at lunch, everybody goes out to lunch, right? They go hang out. They go, so nobody's really trading. Nobody's buying or selling stocks.
Gotcha.
So
Makes sense.
So it's a dead time. It's like, we don't want to trade right now. It's not much movement usually. And then usually when you come back from lunch, it's hit or miss, right? Maybe sometimes it'll move. Maybe sometimes it'll just kind of continue from lunch. And so we trade from 9:30 to, lunch, and then we go hang out. And so I get good with David, right? I get good at day trading as well. And at that point, I'm making, 5, 10K a day sometimes.
How much you trading with?
Started with 8,500, worked my way up to about 160,000.
Okay.
So I can put in 160 or trade scale in with 160,000, and I can pull 5, 10K out of that, a day. And so I'm happy. I'm like, hey,
For sure.
This is solid. You buy you 10,000 shares at $2, right? And you let that thing rip for 50 cents. It's a solid day. It's 5K. So that's how I played the game for a while. And I do this all through 2019, or mostly through 2020, until people start requesting me to teach. And so I said, okay, well, David teaches, so I don't want to step on his toes. So I say, well, here's the thing. I can teach you, but I won't teach you penny stocks because David does that. Yeah. I said, well, I went short on Delta, American Airlines. So I said, I'll teach you the larger companies and what I've learned from the billionaire, Charlie. And so that was the genesis of what we call today STB, Secure the Bag, which is my program that I teach.
I love that.
Appreciate it, man. So yeah, it birthed in May 2020, May 18th, 2020 is when I started.
Wow.
And the rest was history, man. So yeah.
It's great timing, bro.
Oh, yeah.
So, number 2 trader in the world. Who's number 1?
It's a guy named Ryan right now.
All right, Ryan,
So
you're going down, bro.
Oh, he's going down. Ryan's going down.
Get ready, Ryan.
I'm on his heels. So he's
He
at 158%. I'm at 138% on the year. And so
shout out.
His time at number 1 is limited, right? It's coming to an end.
Watch your bag,
That's
brother.
Right.
That's amazing, man. So you get a couple clients, and then did you just replicate the same model you did with personal training?
That's exactly what I did.
Huh.
That's it. So it's like, hey, you only need a few things. You need support. You need the know-how, the game plan, and ultimately you need to know inside of the game plan, how do you play it out emotionally, right? So you have a game plan, technically speaking, and you have a game plan, emotionally speaking, right? And so I can give you the game plan technically and say, when it hits here, buy. When it goes here, sell it. But you come to realize that, wait a minute, as money goes in, your heart starts beating. You get a little more nervous. You get a little scared. You get, your emotions start going crazy. And you realize that, it's a different game when it's real money on the line.
Yeah.
And so now I have to teach you how to manage your emotions.
Very interesting.
Right? And so that's kind of what birthed the whole program, because I'm not just working on the technical analysis and how to trade or enter and exit a trade. I'm working on the full trader. What are you eating? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? What's your sleep like?
Wow.
Are you reading books? Right? How's your spouse? Is she, is he or she, not really supportive of this whole trading thing? Because if not, then you coming in with a crazy emotional state, And so that is what led me into really diving deeper into teaching more people. And, the results started coming in, man, and it got really good.
That's amazing. You know what I love about what you're doing? Most coaches don't play anymore. Yep. It's like, yeah, I can teach you how to do it, but it's like, you're not doing it.
Right, exactly. Yep.
And so I love that you're doing it, you're dominating, you're winning, and you're teaching, because you don't need to teach.
No, not at all. And honestly, man, that was one of my motivations for going over and joining this competition. I'm about legacy, man. And so it wasn't just enough for me to say, hey, I can make my own money on the side and just kind of nobody need to know anything. I'm thinking, no, like, who's one of the best traders, recorded traders? Let me see if I can, beat them. And so I'm looking through history. There's a guy who he did 11,000%
In 1 year.
in 1 year. He turned $10,000 into I think it was like 1.1 million and some
Wow.
change. His name's Larry Williams. Right?
Shout out, Larry.
Larry Williams. So I find out that this guy is pretty much the GOAT at futures trading. He's the greatest of all time. Nobody's ever beat his record. And so I go and study him. And so now I'm thinking, hey, I need Larry Williams to teach me exactly what he knows. And so I go and study. I buy all of his stuff, get his coaching, et cetera. And I study him for years, right? And so time comes. All right, let's put this thing to the test. Let's see if you are who you say you are. Let's see if you know something that can maybe beat Larry Williams, right? And so I go and I look, well, where did he do the 11,000%? It was at the Robbins Cup. And so I go, oh, okay, let's check it out. And so the Robbins Cup has a few rules. Number one, you need to put $10,000 down or in. That's your starting capital. Number two, may the best man win.
That's cool.
And so, yeah, man, I go in and, it started this year, January 24, and the competition is all the way through the end of the year.
So you're 3 months in.
3 months.
And
4 months
you're up 138% in 3 months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So things are looking great so far. So far, so good.
Write you a couple checks, bro. Man, that's thrilling. Now, I've had a lot of friction towards stocks. I'm on the opposite end where I'm full real estate.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I'm opinionated on it, or I have been, where it's like, man, I just love that I can get depreciation, principal pay down, cash flow, all the tax benefits. And then hearing you speak, I'm like, man, this is amazing. Within your program, tell me some success stories where you've had some people come in and maybe doubt it at first, and all of a sudden they've done X or Y or Z.
Mm-hmm. I had a guy, Charles, who's in real estate, by the way. Charles comes in and he goes, convince me, right? And I know Charles personally.
Sure.
So Charles comes in and he goes, convince me. Why is stocks even close to real estate? Why should I not just go buy more doors? I said, that's a great question. I said, well, you're speaking to an introvert, right? I'm an introvert at heart. I said, well, I don't want to deal with contractors, real estate agents, brokers, property managers, tenants. Yeah. I don't want to deal with anybody. I want to push a button, buy, push a button, sell. That's all I have to do. And so he goes, okay, I'm listening. Go on. I said, and the worst part about real estate to me, especially if you're going to play the leverage way, I said, I got to go kiss some, at the bank.
Yeah. I
got to convince them that they're going to give me money for this new deal that I'm trying to get, right? I said, I just don't like it. I don't like the whole, I said, so for me, I can push a button, sell or buy, push a button and sell, and the money shows up instantly. I said, not only that, I said, I can play some of the same games that you can play in, or some of the same methods and strategies. I won't say games. Some of the same methods and strategies that you can play in real estate. He goes, no, you can't. I go, but you can. Once again, convince me. So I go, okay. And I like this conversation, by the way, because this is something I have to do. A lot of my buddies, even my guy Ed, real estate, right? And so I'm the only stock guy around all these real estate guys. And so he goes, no, you can't do that. Convince me. Continue. I go, okay. I said, well, I can buy Apple stock, Tesla stock, and I can just let it go. And let's just say we get to $1 million in equity in the stock position. I said, well, just like you can do a HELOC, a home equity line of credit on a property. I said, well, I can do an equities-based line of credit on my Apple stock.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Right? Mm-hmm. I said, so now we're playing the tax game, we're playing the leverage game, and I still get that appreciation. I said, now the beauty about it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here. I said, now the beauty about it is with real estate, I don't know a way that you can forecast appreciation.
Sure.
Like, where would it hit?
Sure.
Right. I said, well, with Apple stock, I can tell you where it's going. And I can forecast the scheduled amount of money I'm supposed to make based on how many shares I'm holding. Right.
How is that?
And so you have what's called, your stock charts, right? Your normal stock charts. And so inside of stock trading, one of the things that helps me to be number 2 in the world is that you can look at any stock chart. I mean, literally anything. You can go look at the 10-year treasury, which also can help you track interest rates. So I can tell you where interest rates are going over the next. Yeah. It's all on the charts. And so I'm thinking, I can tell you where things are going and forecast my equity.
Wow.
I love that, right? Versus just so yeah, man. So the stock charts are my favorite. And so when you get into the stock charts,
those where?
Say it again.
And you get those where?
And so you go, honestly, any brokerage that you have, E-Trade, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, all of them are going to give you some type of stock chart where you put in your ticker symbol, so Apple, AAPL, and it pops up a chart, right?
Are they all the same, or is Fidelity different than Schwab's?
They're usually about the same. It's almost the same, things that you can pull up the different type of indicators, RSI, MACD, and I don't use any of those, by the way. But there's different indicators you can use. Me personally, I use the Elliott wave. Okay, Elliott wave is a theory of market movements that has been used for the last maybe 300 years, right? And these movements give you measurements. And so for example, these measurements are called waves. It's a wave pattern. And so if you get one wave of a stock movement going up, it's usually going to be 5 waves inside of that one wave, right? And so I can measure that one wave and tell you where wave 2 is going, then tell you where wave 3 should go, then also tell you where wave 4 and 5 should go based on the measurement of wave 1, right? And so when I got that skill, and this, honestly, this is self-study at this point. The billionaire didn't teach me this.
Sure.
David didn't, trade this way. I literally had to go in and unlock this code. And once I got it, I knew then, I said, this is it. This is the game. And so the same way I just explained it to you, I explained it to Charles. Charles came in with 80K. He said, hey, I'll start with a little something. 80K to Charles is a little something. He comes in with 80K. Well, Charles messages me, or he calls me in about 18 months, 16 months. He goes, thanks for your help. The program has been great. I'd like to cancel. I go, what happened? Talk to me. Why are you leaving? He says, I'll turn the 80K into 2 million. I go, oh, okay. So you don't need me anymore, right? That's what you're saying. He goes, yeah, teacher no longer is needed. And I go, I can't blame you. All right, well, I've done my job. And so, yeah, that was one of my favorite stories because that was someone who comes in from real estate, and I convinced him to at least get started because why not pull money from one market and put it into another?
Sure.
Right? And that's what he's doing now. So, yeah,
wow,
man, definitely
that's
one
incredible.
Of my favorite stories. Yeah.
Now, do you post your daily trades within your group?
Yeah, so we trade live, and literally anytime I see something that needs to, or that looks like it's a great opportunity, we're putting it in Discord,
and people can just follow it if they wanted to.
Just follow with me. And so the actual competition that I'm doing that put me in the second place in the world, that same competition, each trade that I've taken, I've given it to them live. And so if you just literally had followed me,
138.
You had 138% right now. So if you had 100K, you're sitting on 238,000 now.
Wow.
And so that's what makes me the most excited because I can actually help other people do this, and they don't need to go through the crazy learning curve I had to go through.
They just got copy and paste.
That's it. Copy and paste, man.
Wow.
Yep. That's it.
So you do a trade and you post it right then.
Yep. We'll do it. Literally, where it goes, I go get a Zoom link. I say, hey, we're live. I post the Zoom link in the Discord. They click the Zoom link. I show, my pretty face shows up, right? And we go out and say, hey, I'm going to share my screen. Here's the chart for the day. Here's what I see here. And I want them to see my face because I want you to see, am I nervous? Am I scared? Or am I calm? Am I, looking for the move to just being patient? I want you to see it. And so that's what made me do it. And so that instantly allows people to go, This guy's not scared at all. He just entered a trade. I'm watching, and I literally take the trade and show you the money on the account live. And so they'll see the money going in. It's like, this guy's down $2,000 and he's just cool as a cucumber, right? And it's like, yeah, because I know where it's going. And this is a game of probability. So I've already entered this trade knowing that there is a possibility that I could lose.
Sure.
Right? And so there is no scared heart beating. No, I know what's coming. I know what's possible on both ends, and I'm okay with that. And so that's what I teach, man. And so that emotional working on the whole trader, that's exactly what I'm aiming to do as I'm teaching them live. And so, yeah, man, it gets better and better. Every day I go live, I just notice people are learning, they're seeing it, the experience is growing. And that's really what, that's the fulfillment part of it. So, yeah.
Dude, what a blast. That's fun, man. It's been
great.
I'm going to have to pull up in Nashville with my laptop one day and come watch it in action, bro. That'd be a lot of fun. Well, man, I've learned a ton from you. I hope the audience as well learned a ton, because I think this is a space that a lot of people actually don't know about.
Absolutely.
We just think stocks is long-term trading, just, Nike, Apple, and Microsoft, just throw the money in.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. If people are hearing this, want to get involved with you, with your coaching, however it might be, follow your trades, where do they go?
So you just come to my Instagram just to start it off. I like people to get to know me first, come look through my page, see who I am, what I'm about. And then if you feel like, hey, this guy's charging $250 a month. Let's see what he's got, right? Is it worth it?
$250 is nothing, man.
Right? It's nothing, right? And so I'm thinking, hey, if you feel like you want to give it a shot, there's a link in my bio. You can click in and come join us and watch the magic, man.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is amazing. Cool, man. And your Instagram handle's what?
Instagram handle is @Tay Sweat, TaySweat.
All right, man.
Yes, sir.
Give my man a follow. I appreciate you for coming on, brother. I've learned a ton from you.
Having me.
And grateful for your time.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, brother. We'll see you guys next week.